Okay, just imagine this for a second. You are a 250,000 miles from home, you're looking back at that beautiful blue marble of Earth, and you want to send a video of that view back. But not just any video. We're talking crystal clear, ultra-high definition 4K. I mean, that's the unbelievable challenge NASA is taking on with Artemis II, and we're about to break down exactly how they're gonna pull it off.
That's right. For the first time in over half a century, since Apollo 17 all the way back in 1972, we are finally sending astronauts back out beyond low Earth orbit. And make no mistake, this isn't just some repeat of history. This is a massive, massive leap forward.
This quote from NASA just perfectly captures the spirit of this whole thing. The Artemis program, it's not about just planting a flag and coming home. It's about building a real, lasting human presence in deep space and using the moon as our stepping stone to get to Mars.
So this brings us to the really cool question, right? We can forget all that grainy old footage from the past. The Artemis II crew, they're going to be sharing their journey with us in stunning 4K. But how in the world do you push that much data across the sheer emptiness of space? Well, that's the technological mystery we're going to solve right now.
So first things first, let's zoom in on the mission itself. What exactly is Artemis II, and what's it trying to accomplish?
All right, so Artemis II is basically a 10-day test flight. You've got 4 astronauts taking the Orion spacecraft on an incredible 685,000-mile trip. They're going to loop all the way around the far side of the moon, but they won't actually be landing. See, the main goal here is to push all the hardware to its absolute limits, making sure it's ready for what comes next. And that includes testing a totally brand new way of talking to us back here on Earth.
And, just getting them there requires some serious power. This beast right here is the Space Launch System, or SLS. It is the most powerful rocket ever built. To give you some perspective, it generates about 15% more thrust than the legendary Saturn V that took us to the moon the first time around. Just incredible.
So having a super powerful rocket is one thing, but actually communicating with the crew from that kind of distance, well, that's a whole other challenge entirely. And the hurdles are pretty immense.
So to manage all that communication, NASA actually uses 2 different networks. First, there's the Near Space Network, or NSN, and that handles things when Orion is still pretty close to Earth. But for that long journey out to the moon and back, they switch over to the big guns, the Deep Space Network, or DSN.
And the Deep Space Network is the real workhorse here. I mean, for decades, these gigantic radio antennas, which are placed strategically all around the globe, have been our lifeline to missions all across the solar system. They are incredibly reliable, but they were designed for a totally different era of data.
And that's where we hit a snag. The problem is that radio waves have really long wavelengths. Now, that's great for reliability over huge distances, but it's terrible for bandwidth. Trying to send a 4K video stream over this old system, it's literally like trying to fill an entire swimming pool using just a garden hose. It would be painfully slow because it just wasn't built for that kind of data load.
So if the old way isn't going to cut it, what's the solution? Well, on this mission, NASA is testing something truly revolutionary. A new system that uses light itself to send information.
And this is the game changer. It's called the Orion Artemis II Optical Communication System, or just O2O for short. Now, instead of old-school radio waves, this system actually encodes data onto beams of invisible infrared laser light to send it all the way back to Earth.
And here it is. Just look how small and compact this thing is, especially compared to those enormous radio dishes we just saw. This little terminal, which is managed by NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, is the bit of tech that's going to beam that incredible high-definition video all the way from the moon's neighborhood.
Okay, so it uses lasers. Big deal, right? Well, yeah, actually, it's a huge deal. The answer lies in some basic physics, but trust me, the concept is surprisingly simple.
So the key difference here is all about wavelength. See, infrared light has a much shorter wavelength than radio waves. Think of it like this. A radio wave is kind of like a long, lazy S-curve, right? While a laser light wave is like a super tight, rapid squiggle. So in the same amount of time, you can fit thousands more of those little squiggles than the big S-curves. And more squiggles means more information, a lot more. Basically, we're upgrading from that garden hose to a fire hose.
So what does that fire hose get you? How about a staggering 260 megabits per second? Now, to put that in perspective, that's faster than a lot of home broadband connections, but it's being beamed across 250,000 miles of empty space. That's just wild.
And with that kind of bandwidth, you can suddenly do so much more.
We are talking about pre-recorded 4K video, of course, but also huge files packed with science data, super high-resolution images, mission-critical info, all of it sent in the blink of an eye.
All right, so let's zoom out and look at the big picture here. Because this technology demonstration, it's about so much more than just getting better video from our astronauts. This is a truly foundational technology. You could even think of it as the nervous system for humanity's future in space. When we think about future lunar bases or long missions, or eventually sending people to Mars, having a high-speed, high-volume communication link is absolutely essential. And the 020 test on Artemis II is paving that road.
So after its 10-day journey, Orion will come splashing down in the Pacific Ocean, and the data they collect, not just from the 020 system, but from every system on board, is going to be invaluable. The end of this mission is truly the beginning of a whole new chapter in human space exploration.
Which leaves us with one final thought. This amazing technology is being proven out at the moon, but the next logical step is Mars. Just imagine the detail, the clarity, and the science we'll be able to get when the first humans finally walk on the red planet. What do you think that first 4K postcard from Mars is going to look like?